does, baby. Hello. Well, somehow it is now Christmas Eve. I haven't filmed for a bit because David got a cold and then Little Sausage got a cold and wasn't in the mood for me to be anywhere but looking after him, which is fine by me. So yeah, I didn't really have anything to film because we were just recuperating for him. I haven't got a cold, which is nice because I thought I would probably get it, but not yet. So yeah, we haven't really done a lot because we've just been trying to get him better. Yeah. No updates really, but yes, it's Christmas Eve today, so I've got to wrap the last couple of presents and then Christmas Eve cast on time, which I'm very excited about, and I'm even more excited about it, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I just thought I'd show you these two hats. I think I've shown you them in progress, but they're all blocked now. So there's this one. Hang on, if you sit there, little Bob. This one's for David's mum and it's Scattered Kisses. You can see the little kisses on there. Let's put it on. I can't find my tripod again. So just propped up on a box. I did the small size, so I think she's got a smaller head than me. But it's nice and cosy. Very warm with the mohair and the fingering weight held double. So that's one of my patterns. And then this one is for David. This is the Bothy hat. I can't remember, and I did look it up, but I've forgotten again. And that's really cozy too. I love the crown decreases on this one. I don't know if you can see them. Used Lima for this. Let's see. Lovely crown decreases. So that's going to be a super cozy one. So I just need to wrap those up. Then let me show you why I'm even more excited about Christmas Eve cast on. Just got to reach over here, little Bob. Oh. So after my last instalment, I'd mentioned how I thought that my by the fire socks would look absolutely dreamy in this colourway that I'd seen from Laura at Tiny Human Knits. And Laura got in touch with me and said that she would send me some, and I was just so incredibly touched. And you know, I've had a few things over the last week or so, like personal disappointments or things that have just disappointed me, made me a bit sad, and it was just so nice to be reminded of how lovely people can be. That just absolute kindness was just so appreciated. So yeah, incredibly appreciated. So let me show you what she sent me. She sent me her favourite book, which is just the best gift, isn't it? Because if you have loved a book, you're basically saying, I want you to have this wonderful experience that I just had reading this book, and that is my favourite. The intention behind that is just one of my favourite things in the world. Look at these. What an absolute treat. Let me just open it. It might be quite loud, so I'll open it and then come back to you. So, what an absolute treat. So this was the colourway that I was thinking would look incredible as the by the fire socks, like little elf boots. This is the Baker's Twine colourway, and you know, I've admired Laura's yarn on Instagram and her podcast, which is fantastic. If you haven't watched it yet, she is the most creative and skilled maker. I would highly recommend watching it. But yeah, it looks even lovelier than I imagined. So I'm absolutely out of my mind excited to do these. So I'll do the cuff in the green, and then I think I'll use a stripe of the red to do the bubbles. And then the stripy fur is just going to be so nice. And she also sent me some of her other colourways that she's done this year. So this one is called Candy Coated, and it looks exactly like mini eggs, which is just so pretty. Are you going to focus, camera? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, just lovely. And then this one is Fly Agaric, which I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but isn't that wonderful? And then this one is Whatever You Need to Be. So beautiful. Look at those colours, just gorgeous. Her sense of colour is just absolutely dreamy, so thrilled. These are going to be little socks for me too. Little plain ones. Just let the yarn absolutely shine, and that would be lovely, because I haven't knit myself socks for ages, so I could really do with a little refresh of my sock drawer. What do you think, Bobbin? Absolutely lovely, isn't it? So yeah, I do find when you have those sort of like disappointments in life, when people, it just means such a lot when people remind you of how lovely people can be. I appreciated this so much. I can't even express. So I can't wait to see how these are going to look. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much, Laura. I've just meant the world, so thank you. So since it's Christmas Eve, I need to get them cast on. Now, the utility room is finished. I'll go down and show you. But my house is in chaos. Because all of the stuff from the garage was put mostly in here, in the studio. So, is there a tip in here? My Swift and ball winder are inaccessible, so I'm gonna have to work out how to wind my yarn, and then I'm gonna cast on, which I'm really excited about. I'm gonna probably do a little bit of housework and get the house all sorted out first, so that it can just be a signal for the start of relaxing and Christmassy goodness. Oh, lovely boy. So yeah, I'm going to try and clear some space and then I will cast on. Before I go, I just thought I would show you something that I'm giving to Mum. So a little while ago, a couple of months ago, oh fluff. Before I go, I just wanted to show you, because I don't think this will be out today, I think Christmas Eve, so I was just going to show you something that I'm going to give to Mum. So a little while ago I got very into making dishcloths. I really like them because I like using them, and cotton's not always my favourite thing to work with, but I really like the product, so just have to do it. But I'm going to give this to Mum, and this is a Pearl Soho pattern. It's the tin ceiling. Is it called the tin ceiling washcloth? Let me have a look. Tin ceiling washcloth and hand towel. So I've made the hand towel size. Isn't it lovely? I just love it. So it's just pearls and knits, but it makes such a fantastic texture. I really want to knit a few more. I want to have these as like hand towels in my kitchen, or maybe downstairs loo. I think they're so lovely. The yarn I've used is the King Cole, I've got a ball here, King Cole Big Value Recycled Cotton Aran. This one, and it's actually discontinued. So whenever I see it I buy it because I absolutely love it. I've got some dishcloths made out of it and they just wash up really well, and it's quite soft, and I think it's got some sort of, it's a cotton and 15% other fibres recycled blend, and I think because it's got the other fibres it's got some stretch when you're knitting it instead of being incredibly stiff. I just really like how it knits up, so I'm going to give that to Mum as well. So I need to wrap that up. Then I thought I'd show you a couple of others that I knit at the time. So I did this one. This is also a Pearl Soho one. It's half and half dishcloth. I am making a half and half wrap. I started it when we were on our way camping. I thought that would be a really good thing to take because it's so easy to memorise and there are incredibly long rows, so I thought for the 4-hour drive it'd be quite a good thing, quite a good project to take. I really enjoyed working on it, but I used yarn from my stash that has been in my stash for probably, I wouldn't even like to guess, probably at least 8 years. And it's really tricky, isn't it? Because I mean, I did used to buy quite a lot of yarn, so I couldn't always get to the yarn that I bought straight away, so stuff would stay in stash for a while. But certain things, when they stay in stash for a while, or if you bought them because they were cheaper or in the sale or something, I'm really trying to not do that, because unless you work on them quickly, I'm not making very much sense, unless you work on them quickly, you might find that you're not that keen when you actually get round to it. If you didn't buy them because you absolutely love them, you might find when you do eventually get round to using it, you're not that excited about it. So that's what's happened with this yarn. I think it's just sort of stayed in stash. It's perfectly nice. Shall I go and get it and show you? I think I will. Hang on a second. Okay, so I've got it. It's in this bag from my aunt got me this for my birthday, I think. It's absolutely lovely. I think she got it from the Wool Barn shop. So I haven't worked on this for ages because I've been working on designs. I did get quite far though, but I'm using Drops Baby Alpaca Silk, and I like both of the colours, but I think because it was just in my stash for ages, I've never got around to using it. I'm just not that excited about it. I'd love to try it in the linen quill because I hear such good things, but that's not going to be on the cards for a while. So it's been scrunched up in a bag for ages. How on earth am I going to show this? But as you can see, I've started the second colour. So it's going to be very big. I love the size of it. So let me have a look. You get the idea anyway. So I like the method of how it's constructed, and it's very easy to memorise. It's very, very large. So I thought I'd try the little dishcloth. I think that was back in summer, and I was sort of thinking ahead for Christmas, getting some presents done, so I thought I'd do some dishcloths, but actually I only made one, and I think I'm going to keep it. Yeah, that's my half and half. I'm doing Sherman short rows, and I'm doing the sort of I-cord edge, just because I like how tidy it is. But anyway, I don't know when I'm going to be getting back to that because I'm working on designs now at the moment. But it's there for when I want to get round to it. But I would quite like to knit another one in yarn that I choose, in colours that I really love, and I do quite like some of the really contrasting ones. Julia from the Happy Knitting podcast, she made one out of Knit Picks palette actually, and there's one that's sort of a creamy colour, I think, from the picture. I know that screens changed colours a little bit, and one is sort of a really zingy coral, and I think that looks lovely. Looks like it would be fun too with those colours. But yeah, I would like to make one, but it takes as much as a jumper, so I have to sort of weigh up what will I use more for that. Well, it takes as long as a jumper, if not longer really. So yeah, I have to weigh up what I want to invest time and money in, because neither are infinite resources. So that's another one that I've done. And then I had the idea that I really wanted to make, I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, but here we are. I really wanted to make some placemats for our dining table. So I thought I'd try some linen stitch ones. Which is the right side of linen stitch? Oh yeah, I think it is this side. I wonder if you can see it. It's a lovely texture. And I did think, oh, I'm going to hate doing this because you have to move the yarn back and forward all the time. It's quite a palaver, for want of a better word. I actually really enjoyed it, but I've only knit this one, and it's a bit small for a placemat really. But I like it. I think this is going to go in the drawer to use as a washcloth, dishcloth. And then, honestly, I get so enthusiastic about things and really go for it, and then it sort of wanes a little bit and I get distracted and start doing something else. But then I thought, oh, I know an economical way to make loads and loads of dishcloths. I'll buy a cone of cotton. So I got this from eBay. I think it was about £15 or £17. think it's 1,000 meters. And I decided to make the farmhouse dishcloths, I think they were called, or farmhouse tea towels, that are on Pearl Soho as well. Let me see what they're called. Farmhouse dish towels. Oh, I think it's gorgeous. Absolutely love this one. Such a... I think this would be great to do a scarf, this pattern as well, because it's reversible. Not necessarily the stripes aren't as reversible, but they still look as attractive and interesting on the other side. But yeah, it's a gorgeous textured, really tactile pattern. If you have anyone that you would like to knit a scarf for, I think this pattern would be a fantastic one to use. Just keep knitting as long as you need. I would like a scarf in this one day. But yeah, it's a gorgeous pattern to do, and it's really intuitive. I noticed in the other people's projects, they said that they didn't find it intuitive, so I guess it like everything, it's personal feelings, but I found it really intuitive as long as I remembered which row, which was the right and wrong side. I absolutely loved doing this, so I'm looking forward to getting back to those when the time becomes available. And I've got one of these little corner of craft dragons. I really love these corner of craft stitch markers because they're so light, and I really like not adding too much weight to the knitting. I'm using signature needles, and these are 3.75, and I'm finding that they're really lovely to use with cotton. I haven't used them with lots of projects. I find that the wool sort of sticks on the cable a little bit sometimes, but with cotton it's fantastic, it just works brilliantly. So, but I do find that, do you? Like some needles, well, like wood and metal, they work so differently, how they interact with the yarn that you're using. It's also true of different types of metal ones, different types of wood ones. They do feel different in your projects. So yeah, anyway, I don't know why I went on that tangent to show you all the dishcloths that I've knit, or I'm in the process of knitting. Oh, it's because I wanted to show you this that I'm going to wrap up for Mum for Christmas. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I found another shop that had a few leftovers because it's very few and far between now, being able to find this in colours. They do the white and the cream still, but the colours are quite hard to find. So yeah, I did find somewhere that had a little bit more of this and I bought it. I think this takes 3 balls, so whenever I buy it I try and get the 3 balls. Maybe it's what, maybe it's 2. I'm just trying to see the ends. I need to snip my ends off a bit closer. So yeah, I just absolutely love it. So for Christmas, David got me, okay, if you've been here for very long watching this podcast, you know that me and weaving, that we just don't really go together. It's just not something that has been particularly appealing for me to do, and when I've tried it, I've done a bit of tapestry weaving, and I got a little loom when I was pregnant and I couldn't knit because I thought I've got to do something, and I lost interest very quickly. So for Christmas I asked David for a little loom. Honestly, and you know, it is purely so I can weave tea towels. Alex Collins Designs, she was working with these people who on her Instagram who put together creative bundles. So they'll put together various classes and you can buy the bundle and you get just great value. You get loads of different classes for one set amount of money. Now I didn't do that, but it introduced me to this company, and I think they're called Funem. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It's Funem. They do like weaving kits. I think it's just a tapestry loom. I think it's like a picture frame. I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing about weaving. But one of the classes that they offered was weave your own tea towels, and they were so gorgeous. That's what David's got me for Christmas. I don't have time to learn a new skill right now, but I'm going to. But it comes with a PDF of instructions, and there's also a video on YouTube. I can't even begin to tell you how much of a novice I am, and it's like another language to me, weaving, and it's quite a strange position to be in as an adult, I think, to be a beginner, because I think as adults, I know I just tend to do what I can already do over and over again, because that investment of time in learning something new is sometimes hard to come by, and getting things wrong when time is not as plentiful can be quite frustrating. But I just really want loads and loads of tea towels. So look how gorgeous they are. Aren't they lovely? I didn't actually get this colour. The kit came with the loom, some yarn, the comb thing that you stack the yarn, and some clamps. So it's going to be a lot of fun when I can do it. But reading these instructions, I'm just like, I have no idea what any of this means. But I'm hoping that as I actually start and as I'm actually doing it, because it's quite different, isn't it? Like sometimes if I read a knitting pattern before I start the project, which I very rarely do, but if I were to do that, I would recommend it, by the way, but I just don't do it. Then there might be things in that where you think, oh, I don't really understand what that means, but then when you're actually doing it with your hands, it makes perfect sense and it all flows. So I'm hoping that is what's going to happen with this. I really hope. But they're just gorgeous. So that is my crafty aspiration for 2023, is to weave my own tea towels and knit some more hand towels. Oh, it's just so satisfying, isn't it, making stuff for your home and using it. Just making stuff and using it, making stuff to wear and using it is just so incredibly satisfying. So yes, that's my plan. Anyway, now I'm going to go and wind up this gorgeous yarn and start my Christmas Eve cast on after a bunch of tidying. Hi! So, haven't managed to actually cast on yet, but I just popped a little video on Instagram, and hopefully that means people will share with me what they're casting on. Are we blurry again, camera? Yes, I have a mulled wine in a Christmas mug. Very, very big Christmas mug, but it's not completely full. Have a mince pie. The mulled wine is much nicer than yesterday, Mum. for when you watch this. We had some mulled wine yesterday. I was so excited about it. We haven't been to a Christmas market in absolutely ages, but I always used to like getting a mulled wine there. And yesterday, oh, that reminds me, I need to show you the utility room. Mum and I popped to the shops and I really fancied getting some mulled wine on the way back, so we got some to have while we put stuff back in the utility room because it was only finished yesterday. It tasted horrible, but I think it's been heated a little bit longer today. So I wound this like a gobstopper and it's just absolutely glorious. Did I tell you that the name is baker's twine? Can't remember, but it is. And this absolutely wonderful green. I'm thinking I probably won't get this cast on until Little Sausage is in bed. And I'm going to use my Chiaogu interchangeables. I think these are the Chiaogu minis. Someone asked actually what my favourite sock needles are. And I go through phases. Sometimes I really like working with DPNs and sometimes I really like magic loop. I can't get on with the 9-inch circulars. That just doesn't work for my style of knitting as much as I'd like it to, because it looks really... With both of the other methods you have to do some needle manipulation either halfway through or every third or quarter, depending on where you've got your needles in it. So I'd love to be able to use the 9-inch circulars because you can just keep knitting. There's no point where you have to pull a needle out and change or anything like that. So I would love to be able to do that, but I can't. Okay, so you're propped up on a book, a box and a lavender bag right now. I'm wondering if it's catching the bottom of the lavender bag and that's why it's not focusing. But at the moment I really like magic loop. So my favourite for magic loop are these Chiaogu minis. They're the interchangeable ones and I love Chiaogu needles. For pretty much any project because the needle is smooth but not slick. The tips are sharp but not too sharp, and the cables have such a lot of body. They're really sturdy but have no memory. So I also really like Addy needles, the Addy lace, the ones with the... Am I using them on any of my projects right now? No. They've got a pink cable and I really like those, but the cable does have memory, and you know how sometimes the cable just seems to have a bit of a life of its own. With Chiaogu ones you don't have that at all. Like I've had these coiled for a little while, you take it out and it just drapes. It's lovely. I like the really short cables. Let me see. I got this case from Lou Lee when she was making them to sell and I absolutely love it. She custom did it so that I could have the pockets that I wanted. So this is the little case I have for my interchangeables. Isn't it lovely? This is usually full because I have quite a few, so goodness only knows where they are. But I like the 14-inch or 35cm cables. They're my ideal because then you have less cable to move. I also have some 22-inch 55cm ones, but I prefer the 35cm. I find that's just the right length for magic loop because you get a little bit at each end, but it's not too cumbersome. You don't have to move a lot of cable. So yeah, I really like those. I also love the Chiaogu red lace for jumper patterns and things like that. I don't love the red lace for magic loop because the cable is very stiff, so I just find it pulls apart at the join and it's a bit less comfortable to use, whereas this, it's sturdy but pliable and it's just perfection. I did try some of the they had a new cable that came out which twisted at the join between the needle and the cable, and I assumed I would love it because I love all of Xiaogu's other needles, and they did a twist with the bamboo interchangeables, which I also have, but that has a plastic cable which is nice, but I prefer this one. But I absolutely hated the cables. The join, one of the things that I love about Xiaogu is the join is smooth. There is absolutely no interruption when you're moving the stitches across, but the join on these twisty ones was awful, and I literally never send things back because, well, I don't know, I just don't. I sort of think, well, I'll use it somehow, but I had to take back these needles because the join was just, I was very it sounds so dramatic, but I trust Xiaogu as a brand to make the best needles, and these were not the best needles. I also like higher sharps. If I'm going to use DPNs especially, I like higher sharps, but I've just not really used DPNs for a bit. But I love all sorts of different needles, and I love that different needles, like I was saying earlier, different needles are good for different yarns and different projects. So if you're going to be doing a project with lots of, I suppose like this, where you're doing a sort of cable without a cable needle, sort of moving a stitch, doesn't really show up in this yarn, does it? You can see it in person. But yeah, if you're going to be doing a pattern where you're going to be moving stitches, a sharp needle is really useful for that. If you're going to be using cotton, a really smooth needle is good. If you're using mohair or something really slippery, sometimes wood is good because then it's going to grab onto your yarn a bit more and nothing's going to slip about. So yeah, I like different needles for different projects, but generally at the moment the Xiaogu Mini interchangeables are my favourite for socks. So I have got to do so much stuff. I think because we have been having the utility room done, I have no room on my desk. I need to wrap this for little one stocking. Because we've had the utility room, everything's felt a little bit in chaos, for want of a better word. Mum thinks that I'm really over the top, but my surroundings really impact my mood, and when things aren't in the right place, I find it a little bit stressful. So yeah, so I'm just putting little ones stocking together. Mum made these, his name's embroidered on this side, and some sweet little Christmas trees. I think there's a wooden snake in there, like, you know, one of those that's all articulated. So yeah, just doing the last bits now. In a little while, it's dark already, it's about 4:15. We're going to go to, got some Play-Doh in there. We're going to go to see some Christmas lights because we tried to go out yesterday, but because he's been poorly, he's very tired, so we hadn't been driving long and he fell asleep, so didn't see any Christmas lights. I don't think that's going to fit in his stocking because it's more full than I anticipated it being. It's got a humpback whale to poke out the top for his baths. Well, that reminds me, I think I got him a bath bomb to put in his stocking as well. I need to wrap up those hats and wrap up some things for my mum, and then later, finally, hopefully, I'll get to cast on my socks. So I just wanted to pop back really and say thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I just really appreciate you spending time with me and supporting my patterns and my videos and all the lovely comments that you left on the video last time. Thank you so much. It's just lovely to hear from you and to interact in that way. I think there's a couple more that I need to reply to, and it's just so lovely. So if you are celebrating, then I do hope you're having a lovely Christmas. If you are celebrating another occasion, then I hope you enjoy that too. And if you are not, then I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'm not sure when this video will be out actually, so the weekend might have passed, but anyway, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you really, really soon. In January, hopefully I'll be able to put out another video, because that will be when when I'm releasing the goose eggs quilt, and Kelly from Lay Family Yarn is starting the blanket club that we're working on. So I hope that in January I'll be able to come back and show you that. I'll give you a little peek of the utility room before I go, must remember. Because I hate that, seeing a project in progress and then not actually seeing the finished thing. It's not actually finished because I still need to sort out where everything's going to go, but it's as finished as it can be right now, for it being Christmas tomorrow and having other things to do. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you really soon. Bye. Just thought I'd show you the little mushrooms that I was cutting out at the beginning of the video last time. I painted them with some acrylic paint and just putting it on this little stack of gifts for Mum. So here's the mostly finished utility room. I say mostly because I want to get some baskets from on top of the cupboards, and I'm not sure if my appliances are going to stay where they are. I just wanted to get them in here so that we could use the room if we needed to, which we did. It's already really, really useful. And there's also under cupboard lights, but they're not working for some reason, so he needs to come back and have a look at those. But yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. It has floor. I'm really pleased with these worktops. I think they're really nice. I've got my bread maker in here. Nice tool cupboard for ironing board and brooms and things, and that's the door to the other side of the garage. And then all of the gas and electric boxes are boxed in. Teddy's litter trays down there. I won't show you that. Hoover's on the wall, which is nice because that was always just propped up somewhere. So yeah, it's all finished. Getting nice and organised. Hello, me again. I just thought I'd finish off the video by showing you how my Christmas Eve cast on look. Because they're even better than I could have imagined, so I'm very excited about them. I haven't managed to do loads because I'm trying to work on the blanket square for that pattern when it comes out. But look. Oh, it's Isn't it so cute? I just absolutely love them. I decided to go with the creamy colour instead of the red for the bubbles because it was more of a contrast and I wanted more of a contrast. I absolutely love it. Can you see that, Lucy? Are you focusing the camera? I just love how neat the inside looks. But yeah, so I'm absolutely thrilled with these. I found my tripod, but it's rubbish, quite frankly. So it's not helped matters at all because every time I touch my camera, it moves. So it's not very sturdy. Anyway, I just had to show you those. They are absolutely beyond my wildest dreams and I love them. So cute. And I also thought I would tell you about what I got from Oxford Yarn Shop. So I didn't take any footage inside, but we went to Oxford Yarn Shop and I absolutely love that shop. It's such a good one, especially if you want to knit a jumper, because it's got such a wonderful selection of yarns that are really good for that purpose. I mean, lots of yarn shops here are mostly just acrylic, which serves its purpose, and then I know there's a couple of yarn shops that are very much sort of, they're very high-end, mostly indie dyed, like real luxury yarns. And then Oxford Yarn Shop, and also I think Wool in Bath is really good for this. They've got a real sort of variation of price points, and I think Oxford Yarn Shop only have natural fibres, like mostly, like some of the yarns will have nylon and things, but I just think it's so good for jumpers. I went there it's not too far from us, but I can't buy yarn all the time, so we went there last for my birthday and I picked out a jumper which I still haven't finished. It's actually a cardigan. I thought, oh, this will be interesting, I'll knit it flat, that'll be unusual. Yeah, it's not growing very fast because it's knit flat, funnily enough. I love it and it would be lovely for autumn, and if I could get it out that would be wonderful. But one of the things that I really like about one of the ways I really love knitting jumpers is when you don't have to measure stuff a lot, and because this is knit in pieces, it's quite a cropped little cardigan. There's a load of measuring all the time, but that's not the shop's fault, that is my fault for choosing a pattern that I should have known wouldn't have been ideal for me. Anyway, I just remembered something else I want to show you. Hang on, I'll be back. I'm back. Just remembered something else I wanted to show you. And I have no idea what I was just saying. But anyway, I absolutely love Oxford Yarn Store. It's sort of a little bit out of town on our side, which is convenient. Because the drive there isn't too bad. It's about 20 minutes or something. And there is an absolutely gorgeous bakery just on the same road. It's this little no through road, small road, and it's gorgeous. It's very Oxford, and yeah, there's this bakery just a couple of doors down. I think it's called the Barefoot Bakery, and it's so nice. They do the most beautiful cakes. We've not been there before, but little one lost interest with the yarn shop, so he and David went to have a look in this bakery, and you could sit down and they had the most gorgeous cakes. I wish I'd taken some video in there. They were absolutely beautiful, and they had great vegan selection, lots of lovely different drinks. It was just the most beautiful bakery I think I've ever been to. I had this gorgeous fig and clementine cake, and it had really thick, delicious icing on the top, but it wasn't sickly or too rich or anything. It was perfection, and I can't stop thinking about it, and I want to go back there again very soon. And it was lovely because I really noticed how people speak to my son, and in there, because he's quite sociable, he'll sort of chat to people and he loves taking things to tills and things, but I don't always like how people speak to him or speak to children in general, because they're people. I think they should be treated like people. Anyway, that's a big rant for another time, or perhaps not. But I was so thrilled by how the people in there were with him. They were just really friendly and really treated him like a little person, giving him his cake to carry to the table and things like that. And it was so refreshing to have that experience. I think people can be quite patronising to children or quite dismissive. So yeah, that was just the icing on top of a beautiful, beautiful bakery. Anyway, I came on to tell you about the yarn shop, not the bakery. So I wanted to get yarn to knit another jumper. Not that I currently have time to do so, but I really wanted to knit another jumper. And so we went to Oxford Yarn Shop, and I was thinking that I'd quite like to knit another Ingalls because I knit this one a few years ago and I wear it a lot. It's just a really nice one to throw over jeans. So yeah, I find that I wear it quite a lot, and it's also really pleasant to knit because there's that bit of colour work that sort of gives you something to think about for a bit. And the sleeves, it really needs to be deep-hilled, but the sleeves are just ballooned, so you knit them straight and then gather them in at the end. It really, really needs to be debubbled though. This is John Arbon Knit by Numbers, and it's gorgeous yarn. I absolutely love it, and I'm glad I got it when I did because wowzer, it's much more expensive now, and for good reason. Like, it's a beautiful yarn, but it's out of my budget right now, and it is gorgeous, but because it's so soft and lovely, oh, it pills so much. So yeah, it needs to be debubbled quite regularly. I hear with these things they will only bubble so much, so once you have debubbled them a number of times, you'll probably stop having to debubble because they won't make as many bubbles. But I don't know if that is actually true because I don't have any experience of it, because it hasn't stopped bubbling yet. But anyway, so, and I have the pattern. I enjoyed the pattern. I know which size I would need to do. So it's just a nice sort of comfort knit, really. It's I think it's got a dipped hem at the back. Yeah, it has. It's really lovely. It's very easy to choose these colours for it because they were what I had in my stash. I think I had 5 skeins of the gold and then 1 of the blue. So yeah, it's just a very easy project. It was much more difficult choosing yarns from scratch because I just didn't know what colour I fancied really, and what yarn. There were lots of different yarns there, lots of different ones to choose from, but I decided to get this one, West Yorkshire Spinners Fleece. It's 100% British wool, blue-faced Leicester, because I do like the predictability of a non-superwash yarn when you block it. It's not likely to stretch out quite as much. It's also warmer, but yeah, so I went with that. That's Bramble. What do you think, camera? I'm gonna try some focusing today. Help you out and try not to wobble the camera too much. It's a lovely purple. And so to go with that, I couldn't decide. So I got both, because I know I'll use the other one for a hat or something. I either got this brown, which is luminous. It's not, it looks quite flat from what I can see in the camera, but it's absolutely luminous. It's like a copper brown. So I did like those two together, but then I thought, will I look a little bit purple and brown, make me think dairy milk. So, and I also liked this colour. I think this is berry. The brown one is called umber. So yeah, this is berry. I know the contrast won't be as strong, but I do quite like the warmth of it. They're both quite warm. I am leaning towards this one, but I don't know. I do like this one too. So yes, I have enough to make another Ingalls in this yarn. What do you think? Which would you go for? Would you go for the red, the berry, or the brown, the umber? It's gorgeous yarn. Because it's Blue Faced Leicester, it has a really slight sheen, which is nice. But yeah, I'm really excited to start that. And then the last thing I just wanted to show you, I told you about the weaving loom that David got me for Christmas, and I love weaving. So that's unfortunate, because I definitely can't get a loom at the moment. A more like practical one. Oh, what's happened there? Oh, I've sewn that in. Funny, I could just snip that off. Anyway, so I spent the day trying to work out how to use this loom, and it was hard. I could not, like, the instructions are fine, but I think they're fine if you have a bit of understanding in the first place. If you were coming from absolute beginner, where I was, I don't think they were detailed enough. And the video, I mean, could be clear if you had an idea in the first place, but there were edges cut off the screen that would have been really useful to be able to see. So it took a bit of trial and error of what I thought it meant, or what I thought I could see, and it wasn't necessarily right the first few times, but I got there in the end. But it was a mission. It was really quite difficult. And so this is the first thing I did. It's a little sample. It came with some yarn that was 100% recycled denim, I think, and it's gorgeous yarn. If I could go back in time, because I don't know where you get this yarn from, I don't think that you can just buy the yarn from them directly, and I don't know what would be a good alternative, because it's got a lovely texture to it. So if I could start again, I would have used some of my cotton for this first piece, because I don't want to waste this, because this is going to make lovely tea towels, and I wish I could have used it when I was a bit more practiced. But yeah, it was an experience that I really enjoyed and wasn't expecting to at all. I need to work on my edges big time. I think it's called a frame loom. This edge particularly was bad, but that's just something that will come with practice. I really like the sort of irregular texture of it. I love how it feels. So this I have soaked in cold water and then washed in the washing machine. But yeah, I'd love to know how to sew the edge, because I zigzagged along the edge. I'd love to know how to do that without pulling it out of shape, because that edge is wider than the middle. But maybe that's going to be something that will come with maybe a tighter weave and more practice. But I absolutely loved it once I got into it, and I've just got my loom here to show you. So I just pulled it off the just pulled it off the table. So yes, this is the loom. It's very, very basic, just a frame, and then there's the what's that called? Can't remember at all. This is what I'm working on at the moment, and this is with some cotton that I already had, and then some of that denim for the stripe. And yeah, I feel like I'm getting the hang of it a bit better. My edges still go in a little bit, which is fine. I just need to practice keeping them out. That's just a challenge in general with weaving, apparently, so I hear. But yeah, I absolutely love it. So I've got a long way to go, and then it's twisted round here so that I get more length. And that part of clamping it away from the actual frame to warp it up was probably the most confusing thing of the whole experience. I did not understand what they were talking about at all. But yeah, I love it. I think that might be Stylecraft organic cotton that I'm using on there, with a bit of this leftover recycled denim. So with this one, I think I'll just trim the ends off. Maybe hem it, but that seems like it would make a really thick bit of fabric there, and just use it as a dishcloth or something. Or I could bind the edges, but that sounds like a bit of a palaver. But anyway, I love weaving so much more than I thought I would. So I've been looking at looms, which I really, really cannot get. I mustn't get one. I can't afford one, but also I haven't got the space at all the time to do it. So don't let me do it. But I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I would. Anyway, so I think that that's it from me. I am still working on my blanket square for the goose eggs quilt. That's what I'm going to be doing for a little while now, and then when I finish that square, I'm going to cast on my jumper. So yes, I'll be very interested in what colour you think would be the best one to go for. This is my Anchors jumper by Petite Knit, if you're curious. It's also knit in John Arbon, knit by Numbers, which is just gorgeous yarn. But I got it when it was like £10 a skein, and wish I had bulk buyed, because that was an absolute bargain. Anyway, so I do hope that you had a lovely festive season. It's 1st of January today, so I want to get this up as soon as possible. And thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you really, really soon. Bye. Bye.